Okay, this video is going to show you how to use the Extrude tool in Onshape. So I'm going to start off by getting in and creating a basic shape to extrude. So in order to do that, I'm going to go and sketch. I always like sketching on the front, so I'm going to click on front. I'm going to go ahead and right click and go to new sketch. Notice my sketch has been created on the front, so I'm going to go over to my features section and I'm going to hide all my planes because I don't need those. Clicking on this eye here. All right, and then I'm going to change my view to front so I can go ahead and sketch in a 2D view. So I'm going to create a basic rectangle. This has been in previous videos, so at this point we should be able to just make it. I'm going to make a square this time, so I'm going to make all my sides equal. Let's do let's do 5 by 5. So I'm just going to click because I'm going to have to dimension it anyway. My box is created here, so I can just type in 5, hit enter. I can type in 5 and hit enter. And there I have a 5 by 5 square. So what I'm going to do is use the extrude button to turn the square into a 3D shape. Okay. So I'm going to escape out. Notice that my rectangle is still selected, so I'm going to hit escape. Now from here, I can hit the check button that says I'm done with my sketch. Okay. Now I'm in my 3D tools up here at the top. So my first tool right here is the Extrude tool. This is what we're going to be doing in this video. This is basically creating, adding, or subtracting from a sketch. So I have my basic rectangle, or in this case a square, and then I'm going to extrude that out into 3D. So I'm going to click on the Extrude button. Okay, it's going to say find somewhere to extrude. And right now I'm in my 2D view. I want to change it to 3D since that's what I'm going to be working on. So up here I'm going to click on the corner, put me in 3D, zoom out a little bit using my mouse. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and see how it highlights as I bring my mouse over. I'm going to click. Notice that it's showing you how it's going to extrude out. Okay, so in this case I have a solid, which means it's the full shape that's going to be coming out. Your other option is surface. So if I click on surface, it's basically going to create the outline of it that it's going to extrude, which is not what I really want. I want the solid shape. You have all these other options of add, remove, and intersect. Okay, right now we just want new because you're creating a new shape. Okay, this is the direction that it's coming out, so it's extruding towards me. I can also change that to go the opposite direction. So now it's extruding back into the screen. I can switch those directions. So symmetric. I can extrude some this way and some that way. There's other options as well. I'm not going to go through all of these right now as it doesn't really make sense, but we're just going to keep it with blind so it's coming out from that. And then you have the depth. How far do you want it to extrude? Okay, so we made a 5 by 5 square. So if I change this to 5, that's going to give us, and then hit enter, that's going to give us a cube. So now I have right here is 5 inches, this is 5 inches, and then coming out is 5 inches. Okay, so when I'm done and I say yeah, that's what I want, I can go ahead and hit that check button. Now I have a 5 by 5 by 5 cube. Okay, and that's the extrude button. Notice when you are done, your extrude shows up right here. Okay, so if I ever want to change that, I can double click this extrude button. Let's say I don't want it to be a cube and I just want to maybe extrude it by 3. Notice how it will, when I hit enter, it'll change that extrusion to 3. Let's say I like that. I can hit the checkbox, and now I have a 5 by 5 by 3 shape here. Okay. Now I'm not limited to just the extrude. If I want to change my sketch, so let's say I want a 3 by 3 by 3 cube, I can go back into my sketch. I can go to my dimensions here and change this to 3. All I'm doing is double clicking on those. hitting enter, double clicking on this and hitting enter. Okay, now when I finish my sketch, I've changed my shape. So I have 3 by 3 and my extrusion is 3. So now I have a cube again, but now it's a 3 by 3 versus a 5 by 5. And this will work for any shape. Okay, so let's say I go back into my sketch and I don't actually want it to be a cube and I wanted to add another shape onto that. So let's say I have I put a circle like this, and let's go ahead and trim off some of this extra stuff. Okay, now when I hit the checkbox, notice that that circle got extruded as well. The last thing you can also do is, let's say I want to create a sketch on this. You can also create a new sketch. I want my sketch plane to be the top here, so notice I can move my mouse and click on it. Notice it created my plane there. I can add shapes to that as well. Just say I want to do something like this for no reason in particular. Trim out all this extra stuff because it's not necessary. When I finish that sketch, notice that sketch is now on my shape. I can now use the extrude button again. Click extrude. And now notice that I'm extruding that up. Now that's adding to a shape. I can also change it to remove and extrude. So when I hit remove, notice now, and I can change this here, it's going into my object. That's what the remove button will do. Okay. I can also change the depth. I know this is a depth of 3 if I type in 3 here and hit enter. Now it's a hole that's in that shape that goes all the way through my object. So if I look through it, that shape is all the way through my object. Okay, so those are a couple options too, and some things that you can do with extrude. Okay, but if I hit add, it's going to add that shape out. So let's just go ahead and say, okay, that looks good to me. And now I have this shape. Now this is my new extrusion. This was my sketch that I did. This was my first extrusion, and this was my first sketch. And so I can go back into any of these and change those as I see fit. That's all I wanted to show you with this feature. We'll show you more about extrusions and other things you can do in other videos.